Hi, it's good to be here. It's obviously been a really long time since I've been here, so I'm kind of coming back in a whole different way, trying to be more genuine and trying to be more soft with myself. Right now, I feel like I'm making love to the camera. But ideally, hopefully, this will kind of help me get through those kind of like blocks that I have when it comes to recording and being in front of the camera and having my voice and my face be shown and heard and all of that. So, yeah, it's a journey, y'all. It's a journey. But I'm happy to be here, honestly. I needed so much storage for this, dude. Like, I've been trying to. Storage is just a problem. I want to talk about leaving the country. And for those who don't know me, I left the country for a year and I went to Spain and I was studying Chinese medicine. And in this conversation, I kind of want to talk about that and my experience there and just like the topic of leaving the country in general. I know the state of the world has a lot of us wanting to leave the country, and I don't know, it feels really weird that um, everything happened so I would be back at this moment um, and want to get out so bad again, you know what I'm saying? But that I'm back at this moment, and this moment, like, there's a lot of things happening and changing in the United States. So it's kind of terrifying, but obviously I feel like I'm back for some reason, for a very important reason. Um, yeah, yeah, super strange. But anyways, yeah, I was living in Spain and I would have been there longer. I was there for a year. I would have been there longer. I would have been there for 3 years. That's how long my master program was, or 4 years, 3 or 4 years. That's how long my master's program was. But unfortunately, I got robbed. There's a whole, I guess there's not a story on it. I guess I should do a story on it, but I don't know if that story time is going to be right now. But long story short, somebody came into my house and while me and my partner were asleep, and they robbed us literally of everything. And we were working online at the time, and they took our laptops, they took her phone, like they fucking took everything. So we had to move back to the US, and now that we're here, I definitely notice a lot of differences that I did not expect, and it's almost kind of like a culture shock. Um, but before I get into all those things, I do want to say that like people always ask me like, "Oh my God, how did you do it? How was it?" Like, "Oh my God," like they really question like, "Okay, how do you do it?" And I was working a serving job for a while before I left, and then even when I got back. So when I was at that serving job, some of the same people that when I left were still there when I came back, right? Like a year or 2 years later, basically. And they were like, "Oh my God, like how'd you even do it? Whatever." And I was like, "Y'all, like I work the same job as you. Like you also have no kids. Like you're also paying your own rent and whatever. Like we got the same occupation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just saved up money. I found a visa and you can go. And basically, what I'm trying to say is that not anybody can do it. I know that there's a lot of privilege that I hold um, because I am free to make the decisions and free to leave, and my citizenship allows for it, my financial state allows for it, my mental state allows for it, like I'm so privileged to be able to have the opportunity and the courage, to do so and to leave the country and feel that free. Like, I'm so blessed to be able to feel that. But I think a lot of people rob themselves of feeling that because of fear and because of being scared of what might happen or what life would look like in a place that you're not familiar with or comfortable with. And moving cities and moving states is a really good start. But leaving the country and going to, I mean, for me it wasn't the case, but for my partner it was, like going to a country where you don't know the language. But for both of us, we don't know the culture, we don't know the types of people that we're going to be around, we don't know the dynamic. So like all of that mystery is really scary. But at the end of the day, like if you're willing and you're down and you know you want to do it, there's only two criteria. You have to save the money to do so or find a way to be able to have an income abroad. And then the other way is a visa. You just need a visa to be able to stay there for a prolonged period of time. And the visa process is so annoying and so irritating and like so much harder than it needs to be. Um, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And like, yeah, yeah, like just do it. If you want to do it, just do it. Just do it. Just find the way to do it and do it. Just like we manage to do anything else in our lives. Like, we just have to find a method to get it done, and we have to do that method. And yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to take a while, you know? Like, I saved up for a year before I left for a year, and like even then I had some things that like I needed to do better, you know, so like I can plan now for next time that I leave. So yeah, like it's just about figuring things out and like getting up and doing the thing that you want to do. And that applies to me in so many different ways right now. So yeah, I needed to hear that for other things. But why I loved it so much, or one of the reasons why I loved it so much, and the big difference that I saw, and I knew that I was like dreading coming back, um, being in a walkable city versus a car centric city. I live in Atlanta. Obviously, Atlanta is all about cars. Like, if you don't have a car here, you're either going to spend so much money on Uber or like you're stuck to like a small ass radius. Or you got to take MARTA, which doesn't even go so many places. Like, it's very limited the areas that MARTA goes. And like, you know, like it's a really hard experience to be in Atlanta without a car. There's so much traffic, there's so much parking lots everywhere, like the sidewalks start and then they end and then they whatever, so it's not good to walk, like it's not walkable, you know what I'm saying? And so that experience in life is vastly different than going to a city where you don't have a car, where everything that you need is in a good walking distance. And if it's not, if it's like a 20-minute walk, a 30-minute walk, it doesn't feel like a long walk because the whole time you are in the city, like you're in the town, you're in a space where everybody's walking, you know? And when you got to go long distance, you take a train or a bus that function regularly and go to so many different places. And like, it's almost like you have more freedom because you're able to just like go wherever and you're not really limited to where you are, for a cheap and like for a cheap price. You can go to these places for a cheap price. For example, I and when I was living in Barcelona, Spain, I it happened both ways. I was living in Sitges, which is like a 40-minute drive from Barcelona, the city, right? I was living there and I had to commute when I had to go to school. And then opposite, when I was living in Barcelona, I had to commute to Sitges to go to work. So with that, I had to do that almost every day, at least 4 times a week. And I took the train every single day, and the train ran every 15 minutes like from fucking far, dude, like from 2 hours, like a 2 hour train ride down the coast, you know? And it would come to Barcelona, and like a train every 15 minutes would stop in all the little towns going over to Barcelona. And like that fare, like the ride, the fee for the ride, um, it was $10 for 3 months of unlimited rides. And then if you rode more than 16 times, you could get, like, when you get your next ride, like you get your $10 back. So it was like a way that the city was trying to improve and like encourage like multi-city traveling, you know? And like that was so amazing. Like, how is it that for $10 I get unlimited rides for 3 months? Like, and then if I ride more than 16 times, then I get my $10 back. Like, and it's free basically. Like, what the fuck? So it's really cool. Like, it was really, really cool, and I really enjoyed it. So that was one of the things. And like I feel like being in a walkable city, like you're just more exposed to different types of people, and not even just interacting with them, just seeing them, like seeing different types of people be in their own life, like you're reminded that you're part of something bigger, and you're reminded of that more often rather than just you sitting in your car alone in traffic. And like I was literally driving home last night, and like there were like trucks driving and cars and whatever, and it was a little bit later, so it was like a little más like despejado. I don't know how to say that in English, but it was like more bare, the roads. And so like people were driving, and like you just see these like machines with two headlights, and they all look the same, and they're just passing you, and like people are passing you on both sides, and like these trucks that are just like driving, and like every single one of those cars has people in it, and most of those cars only has one person in it. So it's like, whoa, like we are so separated, like physically, like emotionally, goddamn mentally, y'all fucking fighting. um you know what I'm saying? Like we're so separated, and like that difference I think plays a big role on like our mental health and our spiritual health and our social health, I think that's the biggest thing, our social health. And yeah, it's really crazy. It's really crazy. Another thing, and I think the last thing, because I actually have to go get ready for work, and this was actually really nice. I liked it. Um, the food quality, dude, like when I was in Spain, like the first thing I noticed is that the seasonings in Spain don't dissolve in your food. Here, if you make like a soup or something, like you put your little seasonings in, whatever, and it all like dissolves into the water, right? And it all just kind of creates like this broth, whatever. There, you like put some seasoning into in your food, and like here it dissolves almost instantly. Okay, let me mention that. Over there, like you put your seasoning in your food, and it like some of it dissolves, but then a lot of it just stays like floating at the top, and like it like concentrates in certain areas and like whatever. And like the food just tastes so much better, and you naturally like lose weight. You can eat all the bread you want, and the bread tastes so good, and like it's just healthier for you, like less intestinal problems. Like I don't know, I be a girl with stomach problems, but like less intestinal problems. The fruit and everything, the veggies, they taste much more richer. Like for example, tomatoes. Before I left the United States, I like ate tomatoes, like I had no problem with them. And then I went to Spain and I love the tomatoes, and I was like, whoa, like these are so good. And then I came back to the fucking States, and I don't like the tomatoes, like the like just like the regular Roma tomatoes. And like they're more like grainy, and like they don't have a flavor. And I was eating a peach the other day that also I felt like didn't have flavor, and a plum, same thing, bro. Like I felt like it didn't have flavor. And I'm like, yo, it's because all the food in this bitch is genetically modified and like mass produced for money, 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 money. And like it's really crazy. So I really recommend. I'm planning on getting out again, and I'm not gonna disclose my plans for that because you guys don't need to know that yet. But I really do recommend people to get out of the United States, especially now. I don't know if you guys have seen Handmaid's Tale, but with administration, that's definitely the direction we're going in. I feel like I even have to be careful now saying anything bad about that man, because they be fucking looking at everything, and silencing people and sending people to jail. And like I'm an immigrant, I have my papers and stuff, but like uno nunca sabe, like you never know. Um, so it's really scary. I think that things that are happening in the United States right now are really scary, and it's a really pivotal time. And I think it's really important for us to let go of that fear and level up, and like really go all in with our things, with the things that we need to do. And that goes for myself as well. I'm trying slash doing every single day what I feel like I need to do. I know I can do more, but I also know to be kind to myself. So we're dealing with that right now. Um, but I wholeheartedly believe that anybody who wants to leave should leave and will be so much happier when they leave. Um, so yeah, I appreciate you being here. And if you're watching, that is so amazing. This is like starting my journey on YouTube and taking the YouTube audio and putting it to Spotify. Um, I am really grateful. Um, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I don't really know what else to say. I don't want to be so scripted, you know? But yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, your night, whenever it is that you're listening to this. I am so grateful that you're here and joining me on this, and hopefully you like it. If you do, feel free to support, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Never said that before. But yes, have a beautiful day, and we